Today we are going to study about physical quantities and measurement. Our third chapter, physical quantities and measurement. As you know, we in our daily life a measurement plays an important role. Measurement is required always. For example, when we are waking at the morning, in order to wake up at the morning, we need a measurement of time. Such that if you want to wake up at 5 o'clock, you will set an alarm. You will set an alarm so that the time is measured. When the 5 o'clock comes, at that time suddenly what will happen? The alarm will be ringing and we will be waking up. Okay. And after waking up, what we will do? If you want to go for brushing, you will take the toothpaste and you know how much quantity, how much measurement of toothpaste is required to brush our teeth. You will not squeeze out the entire toothpaste from the tube. You will not. You know a minimum quantity required. How much quantity is required for the brushing? That much quantity you will be taking. Is it not? And after that, if you are after the brushing and all, if you are entering to the kitchen, you can find your mummy there. Sometimes she will be preparing tea. Sometimes she will be preparing tea. When she is preparing tea, if you have not yet seen, next day when you can just wake up a little more early and you just ask mummy that I want to see how to prepare tea. There she used to measure some amount of water. She will not keep a big vessel of water on the stove in order to prepare tea. If she needs to prepare some amount of tea, she knows the exact or almost exact measurement. And she will take 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 glasses of water. That only she is going to keep on the stove. Right? Then again, if she will not put 1 kilogram of tea powder together into the water when it is boiling. No. She knows a particular measurement of tea powder required for the tea, and maybe 1 spoon or 1.5 tablespoon only she will add. That much measured quantity of that tea powder will be added. The same way, sugar also, when she is adding sugar, she knows how much quantity is required. She knows the almost exact measurement of the sugar also. So, this is regarding our daily in the morning. Then after that, if you want to purchase a dress, we know our size should be measured. Otherwise, what will happen? If the size is very small or bigger, it is very difficult for us to wear the dress. If it is smaller, then what will happen? So, measurement is required. So, how we are going to measure? That's what we are going to discuss today. Okay, in this chapter, we are going to study about how we are measuring. Already you know these things, but we are just going a little more deeply and how this is correcting, how it is if there are some corrections, how we are going to make the exact measurements, and if there is some multiples, so that means sometimes we need a higher units, sometimes we need a lower units, how we are calculating that one, this and all we will discuss today. And again, if you want to reach the school on time, you should know about the measurement of the distance between your home and your school. Then only you will be able to reach the school on time. You will be able to reach the school on time. Again, if you are going for market and if you want to purchase some vegetables or some fruits or some sugar, something, you want to make a measurement. Then only we are able to pay properly. Suppose if you are going to a grocery or a shop and you are asking the shopkeeper to give you 1 kilogram of sugar. If that person is taking the sugar, a quantity of sugar, and he is going to put that one in a packet, and if it is giving to you, will you pay for that? I don't think that without seeing the exact measurement of 1 kilogram or 2 kilogram of sugar, you will not be giving any money to that shopkeeper. So it is clear that we need an accurate measurement when we are purchasing something. It is clear that we need an accurate measurement when we are purchasing something. Again, if you are going for buying a dress, you need an accurate measurement. You should know what is your correct measurement of your dress. Otherwise, what will happen? If it is smaller, you cannot use. It will not be. It will be very tight. You will not be able to get comfortable. And if it is very loose, also you will not be able to wear that one in a proper way. So you need an exact measurement for each and every aspect of our life. We need an exact measurement for each and every aspect of our life. Now, you can just look at the page number figure 3.1. There they have shown 3 lines. They have shown 3 lines. By seeing that, we will be just misunderstanding that the last one is bigger. The last one is bigger. Actually, it is not bigger. They have just put the arrow like this in such a way. This is like this and again like this. And the last one they have used outward. Both are outward. First two were the two-wheel image that almost same, but the last one is not. We are assuming that that one is not same. So from here it is clear that through the senses, sometimes we will be able to, by seeing that one, sometimes we will say that, oh, this is correct this much. But it will not be always correct sharp measurement we are not able to get. Suppose you cannot say that 1 kilogram sugar, simply holding on your hand, but if the shopkeeper is giving without measuring that 1 kilogram sugar to your hand, you cannot measure that. Means by holding that one by our sense, we will not be able to make that. We will not be able to measure that one exact 1 kilogram. We will not be able to. We will refuse to pay also. So if we are paying some amount of money, we need exact that much measurement we have to get. Okay, then again, so how we can measure? Okay, how we can measure? Is Pratik Barangbar, are you listening to the class or you are doing something else? Pratik. Okay, so in order to measure, when we are measuring this one, in order to measure, what we need a known quantity. Okay, we need a known quantity. Okay, so in order to measure, we are just comparing something. What is determining the exact value of an unknown quantity by comparing with a known fixed quantity of the same kind is known as measurement. What is the definition of measurement? Determining the exact value of one unknown quantity. That means I want to determine the exact. Suppose I am going to have a thread, just a simple thread. I do not know what is the measurement of this one. I don't know what is the length of this one. So determining the exact value of unknown quantity. This is the unknown quantity. How? Comparing with a known quantity. We are going to compare that one with a known quantity. How we will compare with a known quantity? You all are having instrument boxes, right? In the instrument boxes, you are having scale. So we are going to use scale in order to compare this one. The measurement, in order to compare the quantity of unknown quantity, we are using a known quantity. Suppose we are having a scale of 15 centimeter. Okay, we are having a scale of from 1 to 15 centimeter scale we are having. Okay. So, measurement, definition of measurement, it is the determining the value of one unknown quantity. This is the thread which is unknown quantity, we do not know, by comparing a known quantity of the same kind. That means by comparing a known quantity, already we know this is 15 centimeter. The scale is having maximum limit of 15 centimeter, and it will start from 1 to 15, and we know that there will be 15 equal divisions will be there, and already we know in between this 15 one division again 10 smaller division will be there. 1 will be equal to 1 millimeter, and this 10 millimeter will equal to 1 centimeter. So we are going to compare the unknown quantity with a known quantity such that I am able to get the exact measurement of that thread. I am going to get the exact measurement of the thread. I hope you understood what is the definition of measurement. If you are understood, you can just raise your hand. I think it is clear now. So, what is the definition of what is the definition of what is the definition of the measurement? Determining the exact value of the unknown quantity by comparing the value of a known quantity of the same kind is known as measurement. Why we are telling same kind? We cannot measure the length by a physical balance. Physical balance is only to measure the weight or the mass of that. So we are not able to measure that. Or if you are provided with a watch, that means second. Second is to measure time only. That's why the last portion of that definition is saying that quantity of the same kind. The same kind means if it is length, it is measured in centimeter or meter. So we need a scale of centimeter or we need a scale of 1 meter. Okay. Now next one, we are going to discuss about another term, physical quantity. Okay, we are going to measure, we are going to learn about another term, physical quantity. What is a physical quantity? Our chapter name is physical quantities and measurement. So what is a physical quantity? Any quantity that can be measured is called a physical quantity. Some quantities are there which can be measured. For example, the length of your pencil can be measured. So we can say that it is a physical quantity. The time of our class duration can be measured, maybe 40 minutes. That's a physical quantity. The temperature of our body can be measured. That is a physical quantity. The area of a rectangle we are able to measure. That is a physical quantity. Okay, the volume of milk, that means morning if you want to buy 1 liter of milk, we are able to measure 1 liter. So we can say that the volume of milk is a physical quantity. The volume of milk is a physical quantity. Then again, weight of your body. I think when you are coming to the school, in 1 year we will be measuring your height and weight. So height is a physical quantity which can be measured, and weight of your body is also a physical quantity which can be measured. So what is a physical quantity? Any quantity that can be measured is called a physical quantity. Any quantity that can be measured is called a physical quantity. Then again, temperature, area, mass are some examples. Then we are going to divide these physical quantities into two. One is fundamental physical quantities and the next one is derived physical quantity. So we are going to classify this one into two categories. One is fundamental physical quantities. Fundamental physical quantity. The second one is derived physical quantity. Derived physical quantity. Fundamental physical quantities and derived physical quantities. What is physical quantity? The quantity which can be measured is called as physical quantities, and these physical quantities are classified into two. First one is fundamental physical quantity and the second one is derived physical quantity. So now we are going to discuss what is fundamental physical quantity and what is derived physical quantity. What is fundamental physical quantity and what is derived physical quantity. Okay, basic physical quantities that do not depend upon any other quantities are called fundamental physical quantities. That means these quantities, fundamental physical quantities, they do not depend upon any other quantity. They do not depend upon any other quantity. For example, if you are measuring the height, that means or the length of our body or length of this chalk piece, we are measuring using a scale. That means sometimes we will say that it is 1 meter. 1 meter. And here we are having only length. Length is not depending upon any other physical quantity. So we can say that this is the fundamental physical quantities. And in physics, mainly there are 7 types of fundamental physical quantities. One is length, then next one is mass, then another one is time, and fourth one is temperature. Then again we are having 3 more: electric current, luminous intensity, and amount of substance. So like that 7 physical quantities we are having. But we will be discussing in our chapter first 4 fundamental physical quantities will be discussed. The first one is we are going to discuss is length. Then after that we will discuss about the mass, then time, then finally we will be discussing about the temperature. Okay, so fundamental physical quantities, the quantities that do not depend upon any other quantity is called as a fundamental physical quantity. For example, length, mass, time, temperature, etc. Then again, what is derived? Then what will be the derived physical quantity? Derived physical quantities, the quantities which are derived from one or more physical quantity. The quantities which are derived from one or more physical quantities. For example, area. Okay, area. For example, area. How we will find out area? We will be having length and breadth. Both are we will measure in meter. So this area is derived from 2 physical quantities. One is length and another one is breadth. Then again, if you are going for volume will be length into breadth into height. 3 physical quantities we will notice. So derived physical quantities are the quantities which are derived from 2 or more other physical quantities, whereas fundamental physical quantities are the quantities which do not depend upon any other physical quantities. Do not depend upon any other physical quantity. Then what will be the fundamental physical quantities? Area, volume, then speed. How we will calculate speed? Speed will be calculated by distance traveled divided by time. It is depending upon 2 physical quantities. One is distance is in meter, the time is in second. So if any of these are varying, this quantity, the derived physical quantities also will be varying. Any of these quantities are varying, then this other, we are mainly discussing the derived physical quantities are also going to be varying. So we can say that they are depending upon other physical quantities, whereas fundamental physical quantities are not depending upon any other quantities. Is it clear? Is it clear for you? Fundamental physical quantities and derived physical quantities. Then again, the last topic today we are going to discuss about the traditional units. What are the traditional units? So what are the traditional units we were using earlier? Initially people choose their body parts as their natural surrounding as an instrument of measurement. For example, you can just look at your textbook page number 18. You can just open your textbook page number 18. There you can see a cubit and a hand span. Earlier we were not having a measuring. That means already from the definition of measurement we have seen that we are comparing an unknown quantity with a known quantity. So now for a known quantity we are having scale. Earlier in ancient time we were not having scale. At that time how people were measuring the measurements, they used to have a cubit. Page number 18 it is given a cubit. Cubit is the what is the length from our elbow to the middle finger. The tip of the middle finger to our elbow. This length is called 1 cubit. So if they want to measure this board, how they will measure? They will keep like this. So they will be taking like this measurement 1, 2, 3 like that they are going to measure. So this is called a cubit. Okay. And another thing what they were using is a hand span. Hand span means that is the length of when we are outstretching our hands and the fingers. the length between the big finger to the little finger. Okay. So what is the length from this point to this point is called a hand span. So if they want to measure this length of this board, what they will do? They will be using 1, 2, 3 like that. They will be measuring with the hand span. So this was the earlier measuring system. This was our traditional measuring system when we were not having a known quantity, a correct quantity to measure. Then again, a palm was the width of the hand, then a finger or digit was the width of the middle finger. The Greeks developed the foot as their fundamental unit. Foot. They have developed foot as their fundamental unit. 1 foot means what? 1 foot is the length of a bare foot of a grown up man. Okay, 1 foot was the bare foot. What is the length of our bare foot of a grown up man was the length. Here we have a problem that sometimes my palm will have the cubit will be this much. If a person bigger than me, sometimes it will be up to here. So each person, when he is taking the measurement, what will happen? There can be variation. We are not getting an exact value. We will be getting a near about value. We were not getting an exact value. That was one of the drawback of these traditional units. And when we are stretching my hand also, sometimes a person which is having bigger than my hand can be there, smaller than my hand can be there. So if I measure this length of this one using this method, sometimes I will get 6. The other person sometimes he will be getting 5. The other person sometimes he will be getting 7. So I cannot say that the other persons are wrong, because we do not have a standardized scale, or we do not have a particular known quantity to compare. So that was one of the main drawback of the traditional units. That was one of the main drawback of the traditional units. Then after that, what happened? They measured time. How the Greeks were measured time? They measured time just by observing the sun. They will be following the shadow which is created when the sun is there. So they were following that one, and the night time they were looking at the moon and the stars, so that they were getting not an exact value, an almost value, one almost time they were calculating, but they were not getting an exact value. Nowadays we know that during the Olympics and all, the person is running for a 100-meter race, even milliseconds can be counted. Even milliseconds can be counted. That is one of the main development of our science. Even milliseconds can be counted. Earlier we were not able to count even hours. Okay, now after that, after the Greek period, we are moving to during the medieval period. One of the most popular system of measurement was British traditional system, that is foot, pound, second system. They were having a foot, pound, second system. A foot, pound, second system. Foot will be just like the length of our bare foot of a grown person. Then the next one is the pound. Pound is for the weight. Pound, they were measuring the weight of this one. And finally, the second, they were finding out with the time. So this is the length they were measuring, then mass they were measuring, then after that finally they were measuring time. So these three are fundamental units, and if we are able to measure the fundamental units, surely we are able to measure about the derived units, because derived units are made from the fundamental units. Then again, each foot consists of 12 inches. They were calculating that one foot was almost equal to 12 inches. Then again, one more point we have to remember is the branch of science which deals with the measurement is known as metrology. Okay, what is metrology? Metrology. Metrology is the branch of science. In physics, there is a branch, metrology. Metrology is the branch of science which deals with the measurement. Metrology is the branch of science which deals with the measurement. Okay, so this is all about our today's portions. Today's topic almost completed. So what we have discussed today, we have discussed about physical quantities and measurement. And first we have discussed about what is the importance of these physical quantities and measurement. Then after that we have seen what is physical quantities, Physical quantities are the quantities which can be measured. And depending upon the nature or the characteristics of the physical quantities, we have derived or we have classified these physical quantities in two categories. One is fundamental physical quantity and the second one is derived physical quantity. Then after that we have seen what is fundamental physical quantity. Fundamental physical quantity are the quantities which do not depending upon any other quantities, whereas derived physical quantities are depending upon any other physical, or they are derived from the fundamental physical quantities and they can be dependent upon sometimes 2 or sometimes 3, sometimes more than that. Okay, then again we have seen about what is the traditional units we have seen. And one more thing we have to remember about measuring a physical quantity. How we are measuring? We are measuring a unit is a non-physical quantity used for the comparison in a measurement of a physical quantity of the same kind. We already defined that one. When we are expressing something, there we should have two things. One is magnitude and another one is units. One is magnitude and another one is unit. What is magnitude and units? Okay, when you are telling that how much distance is there from your home to your school, sometimes you will say that this is almost 2 kilometers. So 2 is a numerical value which is known as magnitude. 2 is a numerical value which is known as magnitude, and kilometer is called a unit. In unit, how we are expressing that one? So kilometer is unit. So when you are telling that the weight of your body is sometimes 40 kilogram. So 40 is the magnitude and kilogram is the unit. So when we are measuring something, we will be expressing that one which is the physical quantity consists of two parts. One is magnitude and the next one is unit. So what you have to do is you have to go through your textbook, read page number 72, the first paragraph up to first paragraph page number 19. You may read maybe 3-4 times, and the study questions which are related to this one you may write on your rough copy. Okay, I need that. I will ask you to send me in WhatsApp your rough answers. Okay, then don't wait for the PDF, and our PDF will be coming at the end of this chapter. But before that one, you will be writing all the study questions in your rough copy. And after writing this one, today's study questions, you have to send me in the WhatsApp. Okay, thank you.